I'm not ableist. I would never insult disabled people. Insulting disabled people is like the snowflake at the tip of the ableism iceberg. Sounds like some new made-up word to excuse being lazy, ugly, stupid, and fat. It certainly isn't new, and I don't have time to show you how ableism infects the very core of society and influences everything from politics to global climate change, from how you get your groceries to your relationships with your loved ones, from CEO pay to the genocides in Gaza, Africa, Myanmar, etc. But I'll do my best. Change my mind. What's ableism? Dictionary definition? There's a number that all basically say that ableism is anything that is discriminatory or prejudiced against disabilities or human differences. But personally, I like Talila T.L. Lewis's living definition that was developed and continues to evolve through involvement of the disabled community. It defines ableism as a system of assigning value to people's bodies and minds based on societally constructed ideas of normalcy, productivity, desirability, intelligence, excellence, and fitness. These constructed ideas are deeply rooted in eugenics, anti-blackness, misogyny, colonialism, imperialism, and capitalism. This systemic oppression leads to people and society determining people's value based on their culture, age, language, appearance, religion, birth or living place, health/wellness, and or their ability to satisfactorily re/produce, excel, and behave. And all of this with the acknowledgement that you do not have to be disabled to experience ableism. So what? Racism, misogyny, like anything you want to claim as bigotry, you label ableism. What did you think of Charlie Kirk's recent statement where he said, "If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified." Come on, completely racist. Because it implies the black pilot is less able, intellectually, or in skill, or whatever, to be a good pilot? So that's not racism, it's ableism now? It's a racist application of ableism. How about how women are paid less than men to do the same job? That's sexist. So devaluing an entire sex based on biases about their capabilities and competencies and perceptions about their ability to lead or their emotional natures. It's all ableism? So then when we talk about ageism, mental ability, physical ability, it's ableism based on one's ability to contribute to society. A lack of ableism would say every human has intrinsic worth simply for existing. So capitalism is ableist? That's a pretty big subject, so let's say for now at least unbridled capitalism without social programs for equity and inclusion. Which then brings up classism. So billionaires claiming that they're entitled to make $8 million an hour because they're so smart. Ableism. What's a common anti-LGBTQIA+ sentiment? Well, some people say it's a mental disorder. Ableist. Or that it's unnatural. Ableist. Oh, and like media representations of them often demonize them or write them off as villains. Ableist. Anything that dehumanizes someone is ableist. And are you noticing a pattern of ableist attitudes being rationalized in terms of moral superiority? So like racist moralist ableism would be the myth about black on black crime, that black people are like naturally more prone to criminal activities? Yeah, and women being framed as sexual objects of temptation for men is sexist moralist ableism. And then the LGBTQIA+ community being painted as like groomers or deviants or like morally corrupt for their lifestyles. What about disability being framed as a punishment for God or a manifestation of one's own moral lack? Oh, so maybe I'm trying to see how this ableism really does impact everything, but I'm not ableist. You've never made fun of a politician for having, say, small hands? Or a stutter? Or their weight? Or physical fitness? Or their ability to play golf? So much of political, I hate even elevating it by calling it discourse, is ableist. There's plenty to criticize on policies alone without resorting to ableism, even when the candidate is morally bankrupt, or maybe especially so. We shouldn't stoop to that. Okay, so I'll look out for ableism in how I talk about politics, but I'm not ableist. Have you ever seen a disabled person and thought, oh wow, they're so inspiring. If they can do it, then... Wait, how is that able? Have you ever given unsolicited advice to try and help someone with their health condition? I mean, yoga does have... Have you ever assumed someone is milking their symptoms or faking their disability? Maybe someone you see is parked in an accessible parking spot and you think they're faking it. Well, there are fakers. Do you think accommodations for disabled people are really special privileges that give them an advantage? I don't. So you've never asked a disabled person how they became disabled? Or talked to a disabled person like they were a child? Or pitied someone who has a disability? So I know you've never used ableist language like, he's a spaz, or that's lame, or phrases like the blind leading the blind, or called disabled people differently abled, or that we have special needs, or that people are wheelchair bound instead of wheelchair users. I didn't know that! There are so many manifestations of ableism, from inaccessibility, like not providing captioning, or businesses not allowing work from home options, to segregating disabled students from their peers, to up to 66% of incarcerated people having a disability, to tech bros inventing shit like stair-climbing wheelchairs and sign language translating gloves without involving the disabled people or even asking if we want those things. All the way to disabled history being erased, like texting was invented by the deaf community. And then the entertainment industry, where stories about disabled people are made by non-disabled writers, directors, and producers who cast non-disabled actors to tell our stories, then misrepresent us and make profits from it. I could go on and on and on. It looks like I have a lot of work to do before I can even see the tip of the iceberg, much less address my own hidden internalized ableism. Let's get to work.